Now, you have a book that's making its way globally, and it's called Stories of Hope. And first of all, I would love for people at home to know what your stage 4 cancer was about, because I know, but nothing's better than the words of the person who's experienced this situation.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, our book, Stories of Cancer and Hope, features my story and, as you say, 38 other people's story. And yeah, my stage 4 cancer, which was just over 6 years ago, I was diagnosed, was that melanoma cancer, skin cancer, which had bypassed my lymphatic system and appeared next to my spine. I had a tumor next to my spine and a tumor on my lung. And it was a complete surprise for me because I was told that I was cancer free after having something removed from my forearm. So it was a complete shock to me to be told I had stage 4 life limiting and incurable cancer 6 years ago.
That is wild. And what was the first thing that you leaned on, or the first thing that you recall in getting yourself to get on this road and deal with it? What supported you? What was those first moments like?
Well, like everybody who gets a cancer diagnosis, immediately it's your family. It was my wife Sophie, my sister, my mother, my other sister, and my kids. When we told them, we sort of leant on each other. I think is the best way to describe it. Trying to hold each other up from the devastation that when you're told you actually have such a drastic cancer diagnosis, and you're not really sure where to go or what to do. I'm not sure if you felt that, Sandy, but it was just you're swimming in a large ocean and not sure where's northeast, south, or west.
Oh gosh. And Kevin, because I know we chatted a few months ago, as our
Yeah.
paths crossed, and to share our books and to talk, which is one of the beautiful positives out of something that can be so obviously ugly, is the human connection and stories of love, that strangers can become friends through a shared story. I would love to know, what was your treatment like? Was it chemotherapy, radiation? What was your journey?
Yeah, well, my journey, when I met the oncologist and he told me that hopefully with being treated by immunotherapy, they could extend my life. And I'd never heard of immunotherapy before. More people are aware of it now, but turn the clock back 6 years ago, immunotherapy had only been available for about 6 or 7 years. Revolutionary new cancer drug, which was developed initially to treat melanoma. There's an amazing
Wow.
story of Dr. Jim Allison, who was convinced that the immune system could be boosted to fight cancers that did not respond to chemotherapy or radiotherapy. And advanced stage melanoma was one of those cancers. And he dedicated his life to proving that, yeah, the immune system could tackle some of these nastier cancers. And so my treatment was immunotherapy, which was IV injections every 3 weeks at my local hospital. And things were going fine until 6 weeks into treatment, COVID hit the world, and everyone had to go into isolation. And we had to shield because my immune system was compromised. So, my mental health wasn't in a good place to begin with, Sandy. But going into COVID lockdown, it definitely deteriorated during that. But the treatment thankfully worked, but no cancer treatment comes without side effects, and the side effects really knocked me for about a year or a year and a half. But one of the main themes which comes across in my story and other people's stories, a sense of isolation. You do feel as if you're on your own until you can hopefully connect with some people that might be going through something similar or have gone through something similar.
Kevin, you said something about, the mental, it can be a very mental deteriorating experience. And I found that so for myself as well. There's cancer, I call it, and then there's cancer of the mind. And
Yeah.
for me, I think cancer of the mind was way more scary than what I was physically going through. I found my own rituals and things that supported me, but I'm curious, what helped you to realize, wow, I'm mentally in a mess here. It's scary. What was something that kind of triggered or helped you to get out of that, aside from maybe family support? Did you have any rituals or anything you leaned on?
I like spending time, outdoors. For me, it's a good mental space. But obviously, not being able to leave your house,
Mm.
that made the situation even worse. And I was with Sophie, my wife, and my two kids who were late teens, and you try and bring some normality, but it's such an abnormal time. And the time at which it really, I found people that could help was when I found a melanoma support group on Zoom. So everyone was on Zoom at that point in time, wasn't it? We were having quizzes, we were connecting,
Yeah.
we were doing karaoke. The whole world that turned to Zoom, and it just so happened there was a melanoma group in the UK that were on Zoom, and I just connected. People understood what I was going through, and I understood what they were going through, and that really helped my mental health. And hearing other people's stories and what gave them hope and what was going on in their life, and there's a certain sort of black humor when you get a bunch of cancer people together that's hard to understand unless you're actually going through it. You can make jokes that other people would go, "Oh my God, did they just say that?" Yeah. So yeah, that was a real turning point for my mental health. Sandy, just finding those amazing people.
But the wisdom to find the resources required and not to suffer alone is such a key. We have to lean on those things, on people, on nature, on faith, whatever it is. When you look back now, a few years have passed. When you look
Yeah.
back now, how do you look back and see Kevin? When you any pictures or when you look back, I know I have my moments. I look at the woman staring back at me on my book, on my cover, and I go, wow, I love you. How did you do that? You got this. Like, what is it that you see in seeing yourself now, years forward and years back?
Yeah, well, looking back at the Kevin, pre-cancer, yeah, a completely different person to what I am now. Cancer has changed me. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go through the experience again, but I have I found strength that I didn't have. I found support from friends and family, and I was able to give support as well. But bizarre to say as well. There have been so many positives from this experience, which I would never have experienced if I hadn't been through cancer. And meeting people like yourself, other people out there that want to help, that want to support other people, and are just willing to give without asking for anything in return. I've discovered an amazing world which I wouldn't have done through cancer, and I feel blessed with that, Sandy. I really do. Uh,
Kevin, I love that you say that because I say this myself and I mean it. And one person in my life, my dad doesn't like it when I say it. He
yeah,
doesn't like it. But listen, it's my truth and I know you speak it and you'll align with it. And I say cancer was the biggest gift of my life. It's brought me
yeah,
to where I am today in true full alignment of all my, we all have our own gifts in life for whatever our voice and work and reason is to live and give. And
yeah,
it propelled me deeper into the knowing of who I am and how to give my healing and creative arts to the world. It's I wouldn't be here right now with the way my life is right now and sheer joy because of cancer. And I
yeah.
say without being toxic positivity because a lot of people die from cancer. We know this. We,
You
we
know, yeah,
say this.
yeah,
So I honor that. But you know, for making it out and looking back, I wouldn't change a thing.
yeah,
I really believe the chaos of our lives sometimes bring in the most beautiful, bright rainbows of life, of teaching, of realizing, of awakening. It's whatever your darkness is in life, and it could be beyond cancer, could be any sort of tragedy.
hmm
How do we view that tragedy? Are we going to fight it head to head, or are we going to say, what is this kernel here trying to teach me and show me? And how can I be illuminated, irregardless of whether I live or die? So that's how I saw it personally through my
yeah,
journey.
yeah.
I thought there's a door at the end over there, and whether or not that door opens for me, whether I live or die, I get to choose how I walk to that door. And I can walk with poise and a smile on my face, or I can drag my knees and bleed all the way through and suffer.
Mm.
How do we find that way of understanding what we're going through physically with reality and no ignorance, but also come into a place of a higher reality, of inner third eye of wisdom to choose the destiny almost? So anyway, that's truly how I feel. So I love what you said. It's a strange gift of sorts.
It is, and certainly through the book, from spending time with other people who were willing to share their story and their experience, knowing that it might help someone else. I mean, that was an incredibly privileged experience that people trusted me, with their stories. They trusted me with their hopes, their fears, and for a number of people, they trusted me with things that they'd never told anyone else in their life before. They'd never told their partner, they'd never told their parents or siblings, and it was as I said, incredibly privileged, and then to be able to put that into print and to share it over the past couple of years and spread these stories of cancer and hope. It's taken me to places that I never imagined, and conversations and meeting other amazing people that whose stories are a beacon for other people who are going through what we went through.
And you are the light bulb that the electricity came through to shine the light. You were the conduit for these stories. But I want to ask you one thing about the stories, and I hope I don't forget
Yeah,
because the brain goes all over the
sure.
place.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, what was the inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to write a book, and this book is going to be with many stories? What was that moment that you knew you were writing a book? Was it something that you knew, or that came to you, or what was it?
Well, it's just I loved speaking with other people, and it started off initially in our melanoma group, and hearing other people's stories, which gave me hope. I just thought it'd be great to collect a few stories, and maybe not just on melanoma. And so that gave me the impetus to chat to people. I initially thought maybe we'll start a web page, and then it's, I'm an avid reader. I love having a physical book in my hands.
Yes.
Sophie loves a Kindle. I like having a physical book. And I just thought if I could gather some stories and then produce a book which people would love to hold and then possibly pass on, then that gave me the idea. And I spoke to an amazing man. I'm not sure if he's on here tonight. I saw he joined earlier when we were having problems. I spoke to a chap called Ricky Nickel, who's a customer of mine in the world of IT. We met. I explained what I was trying to do. His was the first story that I went to gather, which was not related to melanoma. And Ricky asked me, what do you want to do with the stories? I said, well, I'd like to produce, maybe a thousand copies, maybe about 15 or 20 stories, and then just give the books away. I'll need to raise some money, but I want to give hope to people. And Ricky asked me, how much do you need? And I just plucked a figure out of the air. I had no idea how much it would cost to produce a book. And so I said a figure. The next day, Ricky called me and said that his company would sponsor the book. And so that gave us the mechanism to then go and collect more stories and pull in friends and family who all gave their time willingly, and then other sponsors. And before we knew it, we had 39 stories and gave away thousands of copies of the book to UK cancer charities and treatment centres. And then people then contact me saying they'd like to buy it because they'd like to get their hands on it. And that's when we launched it for sale just over a year ago. So that was not the grand plan. The grand plan was just to give away a few copies.
Oh,
And
isn't
it's
it
just
how it goes?
yeah, it's grown.
Right? Well,
Yeah.
sometimes life has a grander plan, and you just have to trust it, even if it looks crazy. Like, what is this plan? What? You made me go through these roads. And now you're at about, I think, over 10,000 copies worldwide, which is so excited from what.
It is, yeah. Never imagined that. We're going to be publishing, well, going to be reprinting in a few months' time as well. And we've got some other plans up. I can't talk about them just now. I would love to have a chat with you in a few months' time about what the next thing is, for us. But yeah, pulling it together with, as I said, over 60 people gave their time. They gave their stories. They gave their sponsorship. My son, my sister, friends, good colleagues. They all came together to actually help us produce the book, and all they wanted to do was help. There was nothing in return. The only thing we paid for to begin with was just the printer to actually get the book physically printed. Everyone was just so giving with their time. It was amazing.
What a magical experience. Unbelievable. I wanted to ask you a hard one to answer.
Yeah.
But if is there one story out of all those stories that pop into your head right now as one that surprised you maybe, or was kind of like wow, an aha moment.
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely it's very hard to choose one. It's a bit like if who's your favorite kid, and
Yes.
I've only got one in the house tonight. That might be easier to answer, but no, no, it's hard. But yeah, there's one story that I love telling. It's about a lady called Deborah, who was when she just got married at the age of 30, and she came back from her honeymoon, thought there was something wasn't right with her breast, went to get examined, and one thing led to another, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And her whole life was ahead of her, and suddenly she had to go for treatment at a local hospital. And she went in the very first day, incredibly nervous, and she sat down in the chair. I'm not sure what your experience was, but in the cancer units in the UK hospitals, you're usually in a circle, try not to stare or chat to anyone else. There's a group community, and she was sat opposite this lady whose fingers were covered in diamond rings. Every finger had multiple diamond rings on it, and Deborah was staring at her hands. And the lady said, "Would you like to know the story of all these diamond rings?" And she told Deborah that, like her, she'd been diagnosed with cancer, quite serious late stage cancer, breast cancer, and her husband promised to buy her a diamond ring on the anniversary of her diagnosis, and she had 21 diamond rings on her fingers. And that gave Deborah hope. Here was a lady who's still here 20 years later, and was obviously, quite, her husband, I'm not sure if he was rich, but the lady said she joked that her husband was thinking of bumping her off because he was costing her a fortune in diamond rings every year. But that is one story that it's a visual story. You can almost see the lady sitting there with the diamond rings on her fingers, and that's a very powerful story of hope.
Oh my gosh, that is so powerful,
Yeah,
so incredible.
yeah,
What I love about your book and what I love about being in this space of writing is
yeah.
that it really is the connector. There's so
Hmm.
much power to the pen, there's so much power to words, and words can really become the food to help you heal and get through really a lot of life's challenges. And so
Yeah.
I love this space. And Kevin, I wouldn't be in this space if it wasn't for this experience. Why would I write a book about what? And so I'm so happy that we followed that nudge to do it and to bring the stories to life, because the way I see it is we're here and there's so many people before us that are coming up, on that journey. Cancer is the new cavity. It's so rampant and and
Mm.
and random and there. So how can we beat this? How can we survive not only with medicine and science, but with also the spirituality and the power of words to remind
Yeah.
us that we can carry on? Because if we give up in our mind, what happens with our body? We have to support our bodies through that mindset. What do I see? What can I realize for myself that happened for this person? Can it
Oh
happen?
yeah, I'm a great believer that that whatever the challenge is, the physical challenge that you have, whether it's cancer, whether it's other sort of serious life limiting or life changing condition, half the battle is mental. And you need to try and find support mechanism. You need to try and find ways for you to cope, for your family to cope as well, because having a positive attitude, and not every day you're going to be positive. There's going to be some days you just cannot get out of bed. You're rushing to the toilet for whatever reason, you feel absolutely terrible. But having the tools to fight it mentally is incredibly important, as well as physically. I don't. Did you find that, Sandy? It's
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. I'm so happy, Kevin, for the rituals I had in place before, but that were deepened because I needed them even more. You
yeah.
know, so positive books, go to spiritual books that were uplifting. What is your faith? And faith outside
Hmm.
of religion, well, I can never say the word religiosity. Outside of that,
Mm.
like,
Hmm.
there's potent power in prayer and meditation of just
Yeah,
help me, guide me, make myself well. What are we listening to? All those things to help the mindset. One thing that helped me, and I write about it in my book, is having a
yeah,
powerful flashcard. So,
yes,
you're in the dark, you're scary. Immediately, what is that healing positive flashcard that you see yourself? For me, I had two of them, but one of them was of me running on the beach. I just saw this like a movie that
Yeah.
would replay over and over, side profile running, wind blowing in the hair. And anytime I got that seed of terrible fear and dark that comes for, you know it, in these situations, I would see that image and I would keep it close and it would take me out. So mind plays a very important key. You know, chemotherapy is what I went through, long rounds, and it
Yeah.
gave me a lot of chemo brain and a lot of messed up stuff in the
Hmm.
brain. And I would tell my oncology, I'm doing fine if my brain is okay. As long as my
Yeah.
brain
Yeah.
and my emotional well-being is there, I don't care. Take my arm, take my foot. The
Yeah.
mind is where you need to be strong. You can carry on with
Hmm.
a lot of other things, at least in my opinion. So I know it's, but I'm so happy that the world has your book. The world has our words and beautiful authors that are transforming their pain and finding a sweetness of purpose of service.
Absolutely, and having read your book as well, and well done
Thank
with
you.
your book. The thing I love about your book is the immediacy of it. You know, you're capturing your thoughts there and then. Your ramblings, and I can completely relate to your mind's all over the place. You're just you're constantly firing questions at yourself that you don't have the answers to. And our book is quite reflective. People are writing their story either during treatment or post treatment. But turning the page in your book every day, it's like, so what's going on today? I had a real window into what was going on that day in your mind, and I love that.
Thank you so much. It's an honor coming from you and all the stories that you read. I mean, it's a lot of experience there through your stories and your own life. I thank you, Kevin. I wanted to ask you, what's something that kind of you implemented maybe that is new in your life now that maybe you never did pre-cancer? Is there something maybe health-wise, nutrition-wise, or just something where you're like, wow, I leveled up my game. This is
Yeah.
something that's now in my life.
Yeah, well, there's a number of things. I mean, Sophie and I completely changed our lives. You know, once I'd recovered from the side effects, which took about a year to a year and a half to get back into balance. And what's one of the strangest things, our daughter Catherine, who did the illustration for the book and did the jacket cover, she had gone vegan when she was 16. And stuck to it for a long time. And here was me convalescing at home. I'd lost 4 stone, and she was making me steak dinners to, to,
Oh,
to try to try and recover some of the weight that I lost and my strength. And I couldn't walk properly for about five or six months.
oh.
But where I live. When I look out my window, we have 3 hills called the Eildon Hills. It was part of a Roman camp 2,000 years ago, and I could see where I wanted to go. I wanted to walk up those hills,
Mm,
and it took me probably about 9 or 10 months to be able to build up the strength to go up them. It was quite an emotional experience when I got up them, but now I love hill walking. And
oh.
Scotland's got lots of hills, so yeah, I was able to achieve it and carry on, and it's good for physical activity, but also for mental health as well. So that's the thing that's really changed in my life.
That is so amazing. Isn't it amazing to look back and go, wow, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do this, I could, and I was affected on the wrists, very painful. I had to sleep with braces.
Yeah,
It took
yeah,
a long time. I thought, is this going to be my life? Maybe it never goes away, but I thought I'm just going to be patient. I couldn't do certain yoga things or weights. Now I'm like, I
yeah,
can do this. Even just walking up a hill, as I know you can feel that. I'm like, wow, if I
yeah,
even have heavy groceries, I'm thinking, I don't complain at all. I'm like, bring it. There was a time I couldn't walk up this
yeah.
hill without grasping cars and fences and things. So it's you know what I say, Kevin? It's important to stay present. It's powerful to stay present and to look forward. But there's something equally powerful about reflection and looking back, not without sorrow or woe, but with recognition.
Hmm.
Wow, that was me. I'm proud of you. I couldn't walk or climb or do a mountain or a hill because it shows you how far you've come and how far you can keep on going. So it's the positive reflection that keeps us going forward into the positivity of the future if we don't live in it,
Uh,
you know?
Absolutely, and the future is, if we were able to do that, a few years ago, what else were we able to do? And you've written your book. I've produced our book, and I'm now helping other people who want to write books. People are contacting me and asking, how did you do it? How did you go about doing it? How did you manage? Have we lost the video? Oh dear.
That's okay. I
Sorry,
hear you.
I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So I'm helping other people to produce their books, and I know that I'll be introducing some amazing people to you as well who've been on a similar journey
Yes.
as well. And we all want to help. We want to help other people, and we need more of that in this world. Just now, Sandy, we need people that want to help.
Yes. And you know what's nice, Kevin, is that even though in the world, gosh, there's wars that we don't need. There's madness and chaos.
Mm,
But through the
mm,
cancer, which is its own war and chaos, it's a reminder
hmm.
that there's more love and good than there is bad. There's so much
Yeah,
good. So we keep
there
leaning on.
is.
I wanted to ask you a question, or maybe we can end it on this note because I can talk to you
Sure.
forever, and we'll have more lives, everybody, with Kevin, and
Yeah.
this is hello, hello, not goodbye. But
Yeah.
if you were to leave this conversation with something, maybe it being this, what would you want future people that are just starting on their cancer journey, maybe similar to yours? What would you want them to know, truly from your heart? If there was one thing that you need to impart, what would your words be? Am I? What would it be for you?
Sorry, Sandy, you broke up just as you asked me
Ah,
that question.
oh my God,
You have
that's
to ask it again, I'm afraid.
yeah, that's okay. Hey, we're on different sides of the pond.
Yeah,
Uh, I wanted to say if we were to leave this conversation with one thing, if you could, for
yeah,
the people coming behind you, it may be similar cancer or not,
yeah.
if there's one thing you wish for them to know, they're starting off on their journey, what would it be from your heart and your mind? What do you want to leave this off with?
You do not have to do this on your own.
Mm.
Do not try and do this on your own. Hopefully you have a great oncology team behind you. They're fantastic. But if you're able to find people who've walked a similar path or walking a similar path, and reach out, because those people are out there. And once you find them, your whole perspective changes. And you'll hopefully have people by your side who understand, who get it, who don't have look at you with a scared look in their eyes that this is an uncomfortable conversation, or try and give you answers that they don't have. Don't do it on your own. We were very blessed in the UK. There's so many cancer charities and support organisations. Maggie's is the one that we support through the book. In the UK, they have 27 centres that you can just walk in around the UK, and there are people who give their time free of charge just to help you. So
Mm.
I really wish in the future no one goes through cancer. I really, really wish that, Sandy. We don't want anyone else to go through that. But if you do have to go through it, don't try and do it on your own.
Ah,
That's my
beautiful
main message.
words, beautiful final message. And and
Yeah,
and I will say, from my point of view as well, to add to that is just keep leaning on love, and love in the form of
yeah,
a beautiful book like Kevin's book. Love in the form of community, as you've mentioned. Here in LA, we have a support group called LA Cancer Support. Cancer Support
fantastic.
LA, which
Yeah,
offers for the families and people going through it even free Tai Chi, yoga. It's a community, a
yeah,
place to go, but keep leaning on love. Faith and love is definitely something that's needed. To go alone is really a scary place, and to know that you're never alone, even when you are alone in your room. Love's
yeah,
got you, the universe has got you. Lean on faith. Anyway,
yeah,
Kevin, people can find your book everywhere. I know because it's on Amazon, so people can go there, and it's an easy way to look at it, buy it, review it. So do check out
yeah.
Kevin's book. What a
Thank you.
beautiful story. We'll be talking again and sharing this conversation for those that missed it. And I just want to say, my friend, what a joy and honor to speak with you. Thank you for making the time in this new year, day 6, right, of the new year. And thank you, Kevin. Thank you for you and your book and your existence. And it's a real joy.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Thoroughly
And
enjoyed our chats.
till next time. Ciao. Bye.
Ciao.
And it's going